We're gonna get into the Four Kings. I'm so excited. Oh my god. The Four Kings, were they actually looking out for the betterment of New Lundo, or were they just looking out for their own selfish greed? What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, and welcome back to Soulsborne Academy. Don't mind the hunter in the corner, they're just here for your protection. In today's episode of Soulsborne Academy, we're going to be diving into the lore of the Four Kings from Dark Souls 1 Remastered. Now, I should have probably checked out the book that I have on the Dark Souls literature that I own, because I have one on Dark Souls Remastered, the art, and just about the lore in general of Dark Souls, but I also have an in-depth book on all of the characters, NPCs, the maps, all of that. I probably should have taken a look at that. During post-production, if I find anything, I will add it in, but during my research on the web, I did not find anything about the individual Four Kings. It would just talk about them as a whole. So even in the Dark Souls fandom wiki page, I only saw that the Four Kings are found in the Abyss access through the New Lundo ruins, and the Four Kings were once the great leaders of a country of humans in New Lundo. Now it only talks about here the Four Kings as it were an entire entity, not individuals. Like, it doesn't talk about this one king was here for this one king was here for that. Now maybe there's something that I'm missing, which is why I'm going to check back at the literature to see if there's anything missing, anything that I can add to the video. It will be in post-production. But the Four Kings is so fascinating to me, and this is a video I've wanted to do for some time, because psychologically the Four Kings is representative of greed of power, and we can see this right off the bat when they obtain the life drain from Primordial Serpent Koth. But actually, to backtrack just a little bit, the Four Kings were recognized in New Lundo by Gwyn. Who else? Gwyn saw their power, he saw their potential, he saw what they were capable of, and he awarded them with a fragment of the Lord Soul. Gwyn also allowed them to build the city of New Lundo, which is that place that has all of the dark wraiths and ghosts trying to attack you. Now, over time, this became a flourishing city. New Lundo was a very prominent part of the community. Now, I don't know if this can be interpreted as the Four Kings running a quite well-built society, or there being something darker underneath. Keep in mind, Gwyn is at the helm of all of this, and as we know, Gwyn is the master manipulator in the Souls games. After New Lundo was built, you would think, oh wow, we have a bustling city here. We have something that is just an amazing thing where all humans and undead can reside side by side together harmoniously. But as the flames started to fade, this is when you started to get an emergence of undead. And you would think, wow, okay, this is going to prove to be a little bit of a problem. No, not really. The city continues on, and everything just, life goes on as normal, pretty much. This is until, of course, Gwyn decided to sacrifice himself to link the first flame. That is until Primordial Serpent Koth, however, gets a hold of the Four Kings. Now, just to backtrack a little bit to give you guys some context, we have Primordial Serpent Koth and Kingseeker Frompt. Primordial Serpent Koth is looking to bring in the Age of Dark, while Kingseeker Frompt is looking to bring in back the Age of Fire. Primordial Serpent Koth is searching for people to bring in the Age of Dark, the Age of Man, to be able to bring a rise to the Age of the People. Now, you would think that the Age of Fire, oh, we have to have everything the way it is, we're continuing the cycle. No, bad, don't do that. Kingseeker Frompt wants to bring about that cycle again. He wants to bring about the Age of, technically, Gwyn, because the Age of Fire is the Age of Manipulation, but I can get into that in a whole another video. Now, I really enjoy seeing Primordial Serpent Koth at work, because he's trying to break the cycle of something that was once just thought unbroken. You could not break this. The Age of Fire was something that was set in stone. No, you can always break a cycle. But okay, now that you guys know that, let's go back into the Four Kings. Now, Koth arrived in New Lundo, which I don't know how that guy travels. Is he a serpent, or is he just like, a little snake? I mean, it's very Adam and Eve, but, I digress. Is he traveling by pipes? I don't know. I don't know how that guy gets around, but that's neither here nor there. Primordial Serpent Koth was able to trick the Four Kings into seeing his ways, and he taught them Life Drain. Life Drain is this really special tool that you can utilize in Dark Souls, which I will get into, but in the in-game description it states that embrace the victim and steal their HP can only be used against humans. Yes. In essence, you know, when it comes to a more literal sense instead of a lore sense of like, oh, you're draining the life of someone, a life drain essentially is the power to steal humanity from others. So you are stealing the humanity from another character. You can only use this against humans, which is why it makes it so eerie, actually. And this was to preserve the humanity of the four kings while they were undead. But much like any drug, they went down a rabbit hole further and further and further into the abyss. The Knights of New Lundo then followed them and became dark wraiths, servants of the dark, ended up learning life drain as a weapon, and it all just came tumbling down just with one ideal and one power that they possessed. And the thing that mutated them was their dark soul. That's why they have this kind of eerie look to them. They almost look like, I don't know, they almost look like Final Fantasy bosses, if you will, you know, and they kind of look like just very mutated, and they look just like they're stuck in time to a degree. And with more of the corruption that primordial serpent Koth was given to them, they sank further and further into the abyss, which could be used as a metaphor for depression or substance abuse or anything that is to that nature. Now, on the other spectrum, we have people who have branded the dark wraiths as enemies. We have people who are just fighting against the evil of that, and this is where pretty much Artorias comes in. It's also interesting because Artorias is one of the four knights of Gwyn. I mean, you know, we have four kings, we have four knights. It's just interesting. And as we all know, Artorias was sent to fight the four kings in the abyss, but we all know that the abyss just engulfed him whole. Now, in some of the lore, literature, and in-game notes and details on the item description, you guys can see that the silver pendant was given to Artorias as a means to protect himself from the abyss. And the abyss was like, oh, you think a pendant is going to stop me? You're out of your mind. This was not enough, and he had to forge a covenant with the beasts of the abyss in order to survive. This is where he obtains that ring that you get in order to fight the four kings, and if you do not obtain that ring before the boss battle, you're just shit out of luck, because you will not, you'll just dive into a hole, and that you won't be able to get any of them. You won't be able to see anything, you won't be able to do anything, and after plummeting for a good, I would say almost a minute, you will not survive. You will just be, oh, you died. In just wonderful Dark Souls fashion. So obtain the ring before you go into fighting the four kings, please, I beg of you. Artorias became known after that as the Abyss Walker, the character we all know and love. But Artorias, unfortunately, did not succeed in getting rid of the four kings. And the ruins of New Lundo is what you see now currently as you are starting in the game. If you choose to go there, which I would not recommend as a beginner, that's something I can discuss in another video, but you don't go there as a beginner because you need to level up a little bit more before you do that. If you go there just to see and look around, you'll see all the ruins of New Lundo and what's left of it. And this is where you come in, you lovely little chosen undead you. By obtaining the fragment soul of the four kings, you're doing something that even Artorias could not do. Even though part of me really enjoys the theory of primordial serpent Koth searching for an undead, searching for someone to bring about the age of man, bringing about a way to break the chains and the cycle, I feel it was so manipulative on his part, because you have primordial serpent Koth literally bringing about the end of a people, bringing about the extinction of an area of New Lundo, all because of life drain. All because of a manipulation tactic that he was using to say, here's this power. I am literally the serpent giving Eve the apple. It's absolutely bonkers, and it's one of the reasons why I love this game so much, is that there's so much to look at. There's actually a lot of religion esque concepts within this game. I can actually go into great detail about the concept of Adam and Eve through Dark Souls. If that's something you guys want to potentially see, let me know down in the comments below. I could just discuss religion within Dark Souls in the series, because there's a lot of it. Even Artorias, actually, not in a religious context, but it references King Arthur, so I think that that's really fascinating. But yeah, with the four kings, it's really important to keep in mind that they are the manifestation of what could happen when you let greed take over and when you feel like you are safe and you are complacent. There's always a lesson. There's always a lesson with these bosses, with these characters, with the entirety of the game. There's always a little bit of a life lesson within Dark Souls. But if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. May you find your worth in the waking world, dear hunter, and I will see you all in the next one. Umbasa.